Hello, everyone. It's been since November of last year that I've done devlog, almost a year. I have done a lot since then. I'm just really bad at logging things, so my apologies for making people think that I probably haven't done a lot. But I definitely have. I've been actually rebuilding a lot of this game before I move any further forward with this project. I ended up doing a lot of upgrading and rebuilding in Game Creator 2, actually, instead of Game Creator 1. I'll go over that in a second. But my original devlog is still available on my website and on YouTube. This was from the end of November, I believe, right after I decided on the graphical update where I was using the game is going to be completely in 3D instead of using sprites. And I also have a new game design document available. It's still not complete. I'm still working out story stuff, but this is also available on my website if anybody is interested in reading all like 15 pages of it, or 13 pages of it apparently. I listed the updates from the original version from November. This just got updated in August, so if anybody's interested in what I'm actually doing here, I do have a pretty detailed game design document here. I am still working on it. Like, I still have not done all of my story stuff here, and I will be adding screenshots to it in the future and concept art and all that. So it's nowhere near done, but it's getting there. So this is all available on my website, mckinleymassacre.com/lost hours, and you can go up to devlog and notes up here. So this has all actually been updated. I need to update it a little bit more because I've done a lot since I made these screenshots even. So I'll show you guys briefly everything that I have built. I'm not going to go into how I did everything. I'm going to leave that for separate videos, and if I want to do I'll probably end up doing a few tutorials like I did last time for my stats system for GC1. I'll just make those separate little videos for that, but I want to show you guys everything that I have done in the last almost year. I would like to remind everybody that this is a hobby of mine. I do have regular work and a job and stuff, so it's, I can't spend a ton of time working with this, but in almost a year, I've actually done quite a bit. It's just most of it has been rebuilding instead of doing new stuff, unfortunately, but I'm happy with the rebuild. I hope you guys enjoy this video. The first thing that I'll go over is just that I went from the Unity built-in pipeline to the universal render pipeline. So that changed a whole lot, actually. I ended up having to filter through a bunch of my older assets that were not compatible with the universal render pipeline. But it also opened me up to using newer assets, like the volumetric fog thing, which is really neat. It does actually work in built-in, but it's a little bit less detailed, and I really liked it in URP. That was actually the main asset that made me switch to URP because I wanted the extra effects that it had. So that's available in one of my later scenes that I'll show you guys in a little bit. The other thing that I did that was a major undertaking was switching from GC1 to GC2. Those two systems, game creator systems, are not compatible at all. So what I basically had to do was strip all of the GC1 scripts from all of my game objects and then rebuild everything using GC2. Generally, it works kind of the same, but none of it is compatible with each other. So I basically had to take screenshots of all of the actions that I used to build things and then just rebuild it in GC2, and it took weeks to do this. So it was a pain in the butt, but I'm glad that I did it. I really like the GC2 system. It's only getting better. I know we're getting a new update really soon. It's probably going to break a few things, and I'm going to have to rebuild stuff again, but it's still in beta, and I don't mind so much as long as it's just getting better, and I like the system, so I'm happy that I did that. I have all the modules for it, so you guys will see me employing most of these modules in this game so far. So let me just jump in here and I'll show you guys. If you guys watched my last devlog, a lot of this will look really similar. A lot of it's going to look pretty different because I'm literally in the middle of rebuilding a bunch of these scenes. But the main menu is just about exactly the same. Just under the hood, it's built with GC2 instead of GC1, but it works all in the same way. So all of these buttons and everything still work. The settings still works with the music slider and everything, and the sound effects still work. And then I have this cool, it was a free module for Game Creator 2 actually that does loading screens, which is really cool. I used to, in the older version of my game, I had to do my own custom loading screens, but this one has like an entire module for it, so you can build your own, which is really cool. And then I did actually add a testing, for testing only, opening cinematic here. That the dialogue is fairly final. I'm design wise, I'm not sure if I really want to have an opening cinematic, but if I do, this will probably be the final dialogue. The pictures obviously are stock, and those will be replaced. But this was built just using the dialogue module actually for GC2. If you guys want to read all this, I'm just skipping through it so I can go through stuff faster. If you guys want to read it, feel free to go back and pause the video, but it's just story stuff. And then this scene, you guys will remember, if you watched my original devlog, it's really barren now. There's, like, the car doesn't even have lights or anything anymore because I'm still in the process of rebuilding. I am using UModelerX now for my environments. So the road and everything. This is a custom texture that I made for the road, but the road itself is built. This is Unity terrain, and then this is built in UModelerX, which is also what I'm using for the buildings. And eventually I'll use it for my characters too, because it's a really in-depth, nice system. It's free, which is surprising as heck to me. But I highly suggest checking that out. You guys will also notice that I have a new HUD, which is all hooked up and actually working too. And it goes away when my stamina recovers. So the HUD system is new. I have this cool fog effect from the same system that I used for the Cel-shading for the characters. Actually has this fog effect, which is really cool. So I turned that on, and then I'll show you guys the volumetric fog in the next scene. Is really neat, just to make it feel a little bit more like a Silent Hill game, sort of. But yeah, you can see the outlines here. I'm using the same renderer as last time. That does the outlines because I wanted to maintain since I do graphic novels and comics and stuff, I wanted it to be within that same style. And I do still have you guys will also probably remember my game manager system that I used is a little bit different. I've added some stuff to it. I've tweaked some stuff, rebuilt everything. The camera system is different in GC2, so that took a while to actually get right. I'm not going to go through that right now. Just I don't know if I'll do a tutorial on the camera system or not. And woo, my frame rate decided to freak out for a second there. I have a custom event system now because I added a new feature to the game. When you have followers with you, you're now going to have access to a radial menu here that I actually got working with GC2, which was really nice. This is the asset is called, I think it's just called Ultimate Radial Menu. And it does actually work. I'll show you guys in the next scene that I have loaded up here. I have a testing area for adding a partner. So you guys will actually be able to see that work, but that had to have a little custom event system in here for that to work properly. I have my character manager here that just does all under the hood updating things like the HUD for when the player changes, or when you add another character to your team, things like that. My player controls are all in here. You guys will notice I haven't mentioned the state machine module yet, which is what I used so much in my original version of this game, but I do not actually have the state machine for GC2. So regularly I would have built the character controls with the state machine module, but I did not for this one. It's all just separate actions, or game objects, I mean, here. And one of the other things that I ended up learning about and rebuilding with was the new input system for Unity. So I can actually hook up I have a PS4 controller here, and I can actually play this game with a PS4 controller, which is pretty freaking cool. Thankfully, the new input system for Unity is way better than whatever the hell the old one was. So that was a pretty cool little update. I can play it with a controller now. It's kind of fun. My pause menu is about the same. I do actually have a little options thing now, which switches. When I am testing with the PS4 controller, I change a few things. And I'll go over that in a little bit. But so my pause menu is about the same. I have an interaction manager that I will show in my next scene. There was a system that I made where, like in Silent Hill, you can, walk up to something and look at it, and it would give you like a little dialogue thing at the bottom. Originally, I had them in speech bubbles, but as much as I liked the graphic art style, it seemed a little bit distracting somehow. So I actually ended up doing the Silent Hill thing where it's literally just text that pops up at the bottom when they're inspecting something, and then I saved the speech bubbles for when characters are actually talking to each other, and I will show that later also. I'm just going down the list here. So there's the Radial menu manager is there. Dialogue manager just handles making sure that the character is not controllable during dialogue sequences. You can't move the camera around, things like that. Journal manager, I did a bunch of stuff with the journal, actually. If you guys remember my journal system from the old one. All of this is rebuilt in GC2 using its stats module, it was actually a lot easier to rebuild than I thought it would be, thankfully, because I actually learned how to use formulas. I didn't have to do all of the weird workarounds that I did for GC1. I do have that tutorial on GC1 stats on my YouTube channel, but this one was a lot easier to build. And one of the other things that I actually set up for the journal, I was messing around with the quests module for Game Creator 2, and so I should just go to my next scene, actually, because the next scene is the one where I test most of my stuff. Because I have some quests set up that will pop up in my main objectives area. I have a character that actually, I did some bio testing on here. When you meet a new character and you learn stuff about them, their icon will pop up here, and then stuff that you've learned about them pops up on the right. It's kind of like how the bestiary works in the quests module, but for characters. So that was interesting to kind of explore. I do have a map system now, which I didn't before. It took me forever to figure out how to do a proper like Silent Hill styled map system. So that took a while, and I'll go over that too. I think that's about it for this area. You'll notice probably that the opening cutscene was not here with the car being dead and her getting out and talking. That is actually still here. I'm just in the process of rebuilding it. I don't use timeline anymore. I was using Unity's timeline system for cutscenes before. Now I just strictly use Game Creator 2. So this is basically that whole cutscene that I'm just in the process of rebuilding right now. I think it's honestly kind of a lot easier to use Game Creator for cinematics, cutscenes. So that's in the process of being rebuilt. I do still have my inventory system, which looks a little bit different than before. I don't have the context menu anymore. for the reason that there is no context system for Game Creator 2. So I had to go with an alternate design. I'll go ahead and load the next scene here so I can show you guys all the things that I've been testing, because that's where some of this will actually get interesting. And I can show you guys my cool fog effects too. So this is my main testing area. I have a little mechanics testing folder here. Oh yeah, and I should mention the reason my hierarchy looks weird, because a lot of people mention when I make videos like, oh my god, your hierarchy is, how the heck did you do that? It's called Hierarchy 4. There was a Hierarchy 2 asset for the built-in pipeline, but he upgraded it. It's called Hierarchy 4 now for the universal render pipeline. So it's just an organization thing. I like it a lot better. It keeps everything pretty. I love organization, so I like being able to have icons for everything and folders and all that. So that's all that is. But anyway, so I still have my game managers here. I'll show you guys, let's see, I mentioned the quests module, so let's do that first. So this main objective page, I have a general test here. So I made a little HUD that's going to pop up over on the right side of the screen here for when you gain a new quest. It's going to say get to the motel. Technically I'm already at the motel, but you know, testing is fun like that. And then when you go to the journal and go to objectives, it's going to actually have a little description here. And when you finish that, that's going to be, at some point I'm going to have it like crossed out, but for now there's just like a little check mark when I finish it. So these are just little testing updates here, and no, it freaked out. Oh, it's because I didn't, yeah, okay, so that's something that I have to fix. Like I said, I was just playing around with stuff, so it's not all perfect yet. I'm refining things, but for now it's all well and good. And then I was mentioning the character bios here. I have this character over here that I can activate a little bios thing for. And like I said, this is, if you guys look through the examples, the example system for Game Creator 2's quest module, this is basically built in the same way that the bestiary is. I just did it for characters. So this character has obviously a placeholder image. If you guys know this character, good for you, because I don't think anybody is going to recognize this. But if you do, congrats. So this is just made using list variables for the different pictures, which is just going to be his sprites in the future. He has a basic little blurb here that's built on the description over here in the quest asset. And then for each little, I'll show you guys I didn't actually put this on here. You can add little blurbs of when you learn something about them. Where'd it go? There we go. Task complete. Coda, we'll just put that there, and then close this and activate that. So now you're gonna have like a little updated note that you learned something about that character. So that was kind of fun to work with. I have a lot of characters to do that for, but you know, it's all well and good. I knew what I was getting into when I decided to build this, so. The next thing I will share is let's see, what can I do? Oh, my inventory, the inventory system, like I mentioned, is very different. So there's no context menu, like I mentioned. Whoops, that was weird. Why did that happen? Interesting. And I'm still finding bugs here and there, so, you know. So there's no context menu anymore. When you click on something, you have options here. You can examine stuff. That should have been over the text, but oh well. I did set up a system for actually, like, the characters actually hold flashlights now, which is really cool. You can turn it off and on. The asset that I'm using for this specifically is called Volumetric Light Beam. So you can actually kind of see the flashlight beam instead of it just being a standard Unity spotlight. So that's kind of cool. The inventory system is going to be expandable and reducible based on different mechanics. That was one of the things that has actually broken since the last GC2 update because the local variable system that I was using got redone. I'm just waiting to rebuild the inventory system until after we get our next GC2 update because I'm just gonna run around fixing everything. So I'm leaving that for now. It doesn't matter so much. I can still do it for testing. So it's fine. Why do I have a second HUD here? It's a weird little glitch. And what else do I have here? I can show you guys my little. I think I was mentioning I changed the interaction system, or the inspection system has little things along the bottom here that this used to be like in a speech bubble above their head, but I liked this system a little bit better. It's just kind of cleaner. I can open doors and things, so that's. I'm using nav mesh for this, by the way. It's not colliders or anything. The camera no longer clips through things, it actually moves around, which is neat. I have the speech bubble system I do have for, say I walk up to this character and he says something to me, I have a little test here for barks here. So that's what the speech bubbles are going to look like now. When you're not in regular dialogue. Regular dialogue I do have set up with the standard settings for dialogue modules. So there's a couple different styles of dialogue here. There's barks and regular dialogue. I can choose to have him come with me, and I'll show you guys the partner system that I built because I mentioned the Radial menu that I now have actions for. So, and now it's gonna be weird and, that's interesting. Again, finding bugs during videos is awesome. So let me restart this because that was odd. Oops. So I'm just really going through everything and rebuilding stuff from scratch, which is a little bit of pain in the ass, but it's fun. I had to rebuild a bunch of stuff. My Pro Builder topology was really bad because I was literally just, this was the first scene that I built, the scene with the motel. So it was just me practicing stuff, and it was built terribly. So I rebuilt it all in UModeler, and I'm still in the process of doing so. You can see how, why will you not zoom in? You can see how barren this is. Before I had the whole thing built out, but I'm just rebuilding everything because why not? What the heck is? Oh, it's a UModeler issue that's causing this. Huh? That's weird. UModelerX is still in beta, so they are having some bugs. So that's why this is being weird. Let me go ahead and reload this scene. I apologize for technical difficulties, but this definitely does happen. Oh, there it goes now. It's behaving itself. I don't know what that was. I'll have to report that to the UModeler guys. But, so yeah, the scene is unfortunately barren now. I have to rebuild all of the hotel or the motel rooms and the gas station and all that, but Oh, and I was going to show you guys let me go ahead and go into play mode here, and I'll show you guys the new fog system, because that's really cool. Those of you that have followed this project know that I'm, in a lot of ways, I'm kind of ripping off Silent Hill. It definitely has its own style to it, obviously, with like the graphic novel stuff, and it's, you know, the characters are cartoony and stuff. It's not like a rip off of Silent Hill, but it's very heavily inspired by the original few Silent Hill games. So I just wanted a lot of that aesthetic to stay, so I definitely wanted the fog system here that I needed to have the universal render pipeline for to build. So I'll show you guys. So there's all this cool like volumetric fog out here, and this is combined with the distance fog from the flat cel shading kit that I'm using. So it makes a really cool effect, in my opinion, that I'm really happy with. And I like that it kind of covers up the outlines until you get close to, so you still, I was worried that the outlines would ruin the effect, but it doesn't. So that's neat. And then combined with the flashlight is also pretty cool too. So it's, you know, it's a pain to rebuild everything, but I am happy with it, and it's fun to, in my opinion, it's fun to work with this stuff. So it's not the worst thing in the world to have to rebuild everything, and knowing that everything is kind of working better too is a nice little bonus. So that's a good thing. I think that's about it for right now. I'm using nav mesh. I think I was using that before though. I am doing I learned about the occlusion areas and all that for better frame rate and stuff. So if you guys have any questions on how I did any of this, oh, I was going to show you my map system. I almost forgot about that. Feel free to just comment, and I'll either answer or make a separate video for it, because I know that there are going to be a couple things, especially this map thing that I'm about to show you, that people are probably going to be like, what? How did you... Because it took me forever to figure it out, so... I have a Silent Hill map system here that records what the doors do, basically. So like when you go into here, it updates your map in that the door is openable, I guess. And then like this one is going to be locked here, and then that will be reflected on the map also with a red bar there. And then I am still building out the, there used to be a zoom in, zoom out function, but I'm rebuilding it because I actually just recently rebuilt the map system. And that is something that I haven't re-implemented yet, but I will have the zoom effect where you can view the whole map instead of just the current area that you're in. But that took me a good probably week to figure out how exactly to make that map system. And I am actually realizing that there was a glitch there for a second. The HUD shouldn't have popped up over there, but I will fix that later, I suppose. This is why I am not willing to do any tutorials or things yet until I refine all this stuff, and then I'll feel comfortable making videos for all of this. Oh, and real quickly, I'll go over I rebuilt that system in Silent Hill where you would find key items, and if you used them from your inventory, it would, you know, if you were in the wrong area, it would be, the character would say, I can't use that here, and then when you were in the correct area, you would actually be able to use it. So I did rebuild that system. I have this key here, and if I try and use it here, she's going to say I can't use that here. But if you do actually go over here, there's two ways you can make keys work in this. For anybody that played Silent Hill, you'll remember for door keys, you could either just click on the door and they would automatically use that key on the door if they had it, or you can just go directly in your inventory and use it. So there's that system, and then again the map updates to show that you can actually go through that door now. And that is all built using just the regular inventory system for GC. I'll briefly show this. And let's see, where are you? It's just running a couple checks and then setting a global variable to what item you used, and then if you're in the right area, there's a bool that turns on, and you can either use it or you can't, and you get the I can't use that here message. And I will, once I refine that a little bit more, I will make a video on how exactly to do that too. But yeah, I think that's about it for now. I'm just in the process of rebuilding everything, so as I get more and more done and more refined, I will try and remember to make videos sooner, because that's definitely something that I need to do. Again, if you guys have any questions on how I did any of this or want to know something in any more detail, just catch me on Discord or leave a comment, and I will answer as quick as I can. Thank you for watching, and again, I apologize for taking forever to do devlogs, but it's just not something that I'm good at, unfortunately. But thank you so much for being interested in this project, and I'm happy to share whatever you guys would like to see with you. Just let me know. Thank you.